In the name of Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful, I bear witness there's no God but God, and Prophet Muhammad is a slave and messenger, and I seek refuge in Allah from the rejected Satan. In this video, I'll be discussing about Imam Mahdi, about a global government, but I don't consider it as a government. It'll be something completely different. And the main topic is divine law of travel, and a few other things will be mixed in as well. So just to get a basic understanding of divine law, that divine law is not man-made. Man's law is not God's law. Man's law is dogmatic, irregular, and it's not eternal, nor universal or immutable. A real law is universal, it is eternal, and immutable. It's like the law of gravity. The law of gravity can be seen throughout the universe in operation. It is eternal. We've known that gravities exist before us and will exist after us. And it is immutable. No one can stop the force of gravity within the universe. This is a universal thing. It's immutable, can't be stopped, and eternal. Now, if you look at man's law has only been around for like the last 50 to 20, maybe 100 years. Some of these laws have been. So obviously they're not eternal. For the most part, they don't align with a divine law, and obviously they're not immutable. Obviously legislation can be changed. So we're going to go to just to get the basis of divine law, we're going to go to Quran chapter 6 verse 38. There is no terrestrial creature that crawls in the earth, nor a bird that flies with its two wings, but they are creatures like you, all subject to the divine laws. We have neglected nothing in this perfect book of law. Then to their Lord shall they all be gathered. So, we're all subject to these divine laws, even the birds, even the crawling creatures. We're all subject to them like gravity. We're all subject to it. And if you want to understand these divine laws, is to understand the Quran. Now, to understand this on a more deeper level, that we have to understand that these divine laws regulate the behaviors and morality and all the matter within the universe. So this is what regulates everything. This is what is keeping things in a balance, in order. And the more that we are in harmony with these divine laws, the more harmonious that our lives will be, and more of a paradise state will be in. So it's very important to understand that. So we're going to go into travel within divine law. Now, if we look at travel within the government, which are playing God, I mean, it was kings and queens before that were playing gods. Now it's transferred into government, and now it's just a group of people playing. The legislators are playing God, and then they have their priests and bishops and whatever else, at their lower levels, doing their biddings. They've got the Inquisition as their police and military force. So the government is operating like a false religion, and they prop themselves up as gods, and their legislators and money is their gods. So this is the religion that the world is brainwashed into right now. So we're going to go into Quran chapter 67 verse 15, which discusses about travel. And this is what Allah says. He it is who has made the earth smooth and subservient to you for your benefit. So traverse far and deep into its spacious paths for your spiritual and material advancement. And thus by active labor eat of his fruits and enjoy his gifts. To him shall you all return after having been raised to life. So there's a few things in this verse. Allah has made the pathways smooth for us. We can see that in the roads. Subservient to us. The roads are not doing their own thing. They're maintaining smoothness and whatnot for our travels. And Allah is saying for us to traverse far and deep into its spacious paths for our material and spiritual advancement. So he's not only saying this for travel, but also to increase our spirituality and our material advancement. Obviously, we need to eat. We need to increase our technologies to make things easier for the next generation. Having more things that are more harmonious with the environment, having technology that's more environmental friendly, technology that's going to help free people. Like I believe, like cryptocurrency is a very important thing within with material advancement to help. It guards against a lot of evils within the financial system that these cryptocurrencies are. Guards, a lot of them guard against inflation, guard against how many politicians does it take to corrupt the financial system? It only takes one, but with say like Bitcoin, if people were using that, it cannot be. There's no politician to buy off to change the financial system to rig it for other people's favor, which is a system we have now. So it guards against so much more evil. If you want to know more about that, I have a video about cryptocurrency in my videos. But that's just one aspect to advance materially, and obviously to advance spiritually. So Allah's saying for us to travel far and deep. It's not saying that we need a visa or insurance or a sticker or license plate to travel. Allah is not saying that. We don't see that in the universe. We don't see planets needing visas to fly through space at how many miles per hour. Who knows? I'm not exactly sure how many millions of miles an hour, how fast things are actually flying through space. But Earth doesn't have a passport or insurance or the animals and whatnot. We don't see this in nature. These dogmatic beliefs, like having mandatory visas and insurances to drive your car and stickers and license plates. These are all haram things. You're making what Allah made lawful unlawful, and it's a very, very severe thing that they're doing. This is enslaving people through violence, through a threat of fining, through threats of violence, throwing them in jail, kidnapping them and throwing them in jail if they are not obedient to these dogmatic beliefs that have they're nowhere. They're just completely false. It's a fiction. It has no place in reality. These legislations of travel restrictions. The only restriction that Allah gives in the Quran is not to trespass on private property unless you've been invited or you've been given the key or whatnot. You have proper invitation to enter private property. But in the common areas, in the public areas, we are free to travel for our spiritual and material sustenance, period. You don't need anything else. We all have that divine right. And we can see that throughout the universe, that you don't need these nonsense things. So that is travel in divine law in summary. It's very simple, it's very easy to understand, but people have been brainwashed by the governments and even religious institutions that they're in a lot of religions and even Muslim religions, and they're in bed with the government. The government is basically just another big religion. The legislatures that are making these obscure, nonsensical, dogmatic legislation and calling them laws, playing God and enforcing them through violence and threaten, through fines and whatnot, are completely haram, completely going against divine law, making what Allah made lawful unlawful. And let's see what Allah says about that. We're going to go to Quran chapter 17 verse 39. These teachings are a part of the wisdom which your Lord has revealed to you. And the basis of all these acts of righteousness is that you set up no other God besides Allah, lest you be cast into hellfire, condemned, rejected. So Allah is being very firm here, very strong in his words, saying that, if you want to play God, if you want to make partners with the law, you want to make what Allah made lawful unlawful, well, you're going to be cast into hellfire, condemned and rejected. And good riddance. This is very, very evil thing to do. Allah says in the Quran, the most wicked thing that you can do is associate partners with the law. This is the unforgivable sin. Allah will not forgive it. You'll have to pay for that price for doing so. Obviously you can repent and change your ways, and that will alleviate, I'm sure, a lot of the punishment. But this is the most evil thing that you can do. And these government officials are playing God here. This is. I'm not gonna play nice with my words. This is going to go straight to the truth. It might be hard to hear for some people, but I need to speak the truth. The truth needs to be spoken, and I really don't see other Muslim teachers out there really emphasizing this. They seem to be somewhat in bed with the government. That's what I've seen with the mosques in my area. They're in bed with the government, and I stopped going to my local mosques in my area because they are in bed with the government. And how can you be in bed with the government if they're haram? If what they're making what Allah made lawful unlawful? You can't. You just can't mix the two. Those, they're making the most evil sin. But I stopped going to the mosque when they started having politicians come in and having a platform to speak before Jummah prayer, to spill their nonsense for political favors, I guess, and spread their evil message of haramness, and putting themselves up as a representative of God, forcing their dogmatic beliefs upon people that have no actuality and reality. Like these laws have no basis in reality, absolutely none. I mean, there's a few things that align with divine law within legislation, but those are far and few between. And for the most part, they're oppressing people. They're imposing their will upon other people's by using violence and force and fear. Allah says in the Quran, say then, with Allah is a conclusive argument. Had he enforced his will, he would have surely guided you all. Allah gave us free will. We'll go to Quran chapter 6, chapter 107. If Allah had enforced his will, they would not have associated partners with him. We have not made you a guardian over them, nor a disposer of their affairs. Allah is clearly saying that he's given us all free will. And, the only authority is Allah, the divine laws, and the prophets and messengers that he sent. Those are the only ones who have authority over the people. Governments, no, they don't. It's just like Iblis. Iblis has no authority over us. Allah is clear about that in the Quran, that if you follow the government, if you follow Iblis, you're going to follow all these false beliefs and dogmatic legislation that they force using coercion and violence. There's no excuse for that. If you follow that, well, you're going to be thrown in the hellfire, rejected and condemned. So I just want to bring that to people's attention. It's a very important thing to understand. And I also want to bring a remedy. How would Imam Mahdi deal with this? And all these divine laws regulate the universe. They regulate our behaviors. They regulate the matter in the universe. And if we look at what Allah says about Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, that he had a great character. It's very emphasized in the Quran. And he was very humble and very peaceful, and he had high morals. Like he was known as the honest and truthful one, that you could trust him with anything. People know that he never spoke a lie. Like no one knew him as a liar. They always knew him as the honest and truthful one. So it was his character, his high morality, his great character that, he was able to handle the Quran and be a great prophet and messenger that he was because of his character. And, Allah says in the Quran that He's going to deal with us according to our deeds. So, if we have a high morality, if we're lowering our gaze, we get married, take care of our wives, the wives take care of their husbands according to what Allah prescribes. We do good to others, we help with how we can in charity. We're always staying humble and peaceful and in harmony in our affairs and in balance, applying these divine laws, living by these divine laws, understanding these divine laws, seeking knowledge, seeking your spiritual advancements, seeking your material advancements, applying these divine laws. Forgiveness is always the best choice. Understanding these, applying these, staying pure, staying clean. Allah loves those who are purified. Allah loves those who guard against evil. If we're applying these things, then this will alleviate a lot of the control authority around us or whatever. Allah says that if we're doing bad and whatnot, He's going to put bad people in authority over us. And then we can see this totally in the world. Like there's lots of bad stuff going on. And it's our morality, it's our understanding these divine laws and implementing that will set us free and actually be more free and not have all these control mechanisms set up all around us, because if we're immoral, then we can expect more controls and unjust authority over us. And if we're more moral and more forgiving and understanding and doing what Allah makes lawful, staying away from the unlawful things that Allah forbids, then we'll live a more free life. And I've lived this by experience. The more moral I am, the more harmonious things are around me, the more free I am, and the more I can live a free life in harmony, in balance, in bliss with Allah, with all of Allah's creation. This is how it's done. This is how Imam Mahdi is going to do it. This is, Imam Mahdi, like I was, saying early on in my video, like Imam Mahdi is not going to have a traditional government. Government is about control, enslaving the people. It's just an extension of kings and queens of the past. It's just another control system. They've got the people mind controlled. So it's morality, it's understanding the perfect book of Allah, the perfect book of law, which is the Quran, implementing these divine laws, keeping a high morality, maintaining it, and then we'll start seeing changes in our world through the law of cause and effect, which I'll get into in a video coming up, inshallah. Another divine law is the law of cause and effect. So, in summary, Imam Mahdi is not going to have a traditional government. It's not going to be about control and violence. It's going to be, there's already laws in place. It's the divine laws. And to understand them and unlock them and live them, this is going to be through the guidance, I believe, through Imam Mahdi. And, the best way to know who the Mahdi is by his character. Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, had a great character, as Allah says in the Quran, and Imam Mahdi too will also have a great character. And by the signs that come with the Mahdi, we can understand who the Mahdi is, and hopefully, this video will help you inspire you to be more morality, understand these divine laws, implement them, and see the change in your life around you. So may Allah protect the believers, increase us in knowledge and light and abundance, and keep us close with Allah. Always stay close with Allah, inshallah. Be blessed. Thank you so much. Peace.